Hello, my dear actor friends. And if you're watching this and you're not an actor, I hope you learned something also. But this is specifically geared towards actors who are trying to make their self-tapes look better. If you're not an actor and not aware of what we have to do, a lot of us have to tape our auditions now. There are no more offices. There are no more sitting in traffic for an hour to go sit in a 5-minute waiting room and then go in for even less amount of time for an audition for casting to say, okay, thank you. Now, a lot of casting director friends, even if they are very nice, that's all they have to give you is thank you. This video is not about the craft or any of that. And as Bryan Cranston says, just present what you do and the rest is out of your control. Just go in and do the work. Anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about trying to find the best looking self-tape that we can give. On the flip side of that, and this is really important, don't let other outside influences say your self-tapes need to look this good or better, because they don't. Look at all the Game of Thrones self-tapes on YouTube. There's one of them out on a balcony or something. It doesn't matter. Do good work. But if you have it in you to want to elevate the look, this is what I do. I'm not a technical guru by any means. I am partially colorblind. So if you're watching this and I look a little off, that's why. I'm going to ramble for a little bit, but I'm going to try and put those little chapter markers so you can just go to the specs if that's what you're here for. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I wanted to do this. A lot of us just use our phone because the camera is amazing. However, have you ever noticed when you're filming it and you look at it, you're like, why do I look like an Oompa Loompa? It's really difficult to change that color, especially if you're using Final Cut or iMovie or anything. You look not real. And again, if you're not an actor, a lot of the notices that we get is say, please tape with a neutral background. It's fine. White, they frown upon, but if you had to, if you're traveling for work, use a white who cares? Just work on the craft, be good at what you do. And, the technical will come if you want to do that. And so that's what I'm doing. The phone is great. Color is kind of weird a lot of the time. So that's why I try to pursue shooting with a DSLR. So this is my home taping setup. 2 box lights, 1 DSLR camera, the Canon R50, which is new to me, and it seems to be great because it's my home studio. I have a boom mic right above me, which is similar to this. I'm not using a Rode. This is a Movo, which I really like. And they're not paying me to say that, so it doesn't matter. But Rode, Movo, something like that. You could actually put it just on top of your camera and it points right at you, and that's fine. But for me, since I can and I'm able, I like to have it as a boom mic above me. It's closer to me and the reader's over there, so their voice will be a little bit less than mine. But you could still hear me.
What are you talking about?
Self-tape tips.
Speak louder. I can't hear you.
I had an agent that used to say that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the specs that I have on my camera below. You can mimic those if you want. Again, I am not a technical expert. I have just learned this by trial and error. And by trial and error, I mean many, many hours of me doing this to try and find what I like. And hopefully casting likes it too. So a lot of the time I have the 2 box lights. I'll have full power on one of them and then I'll have a little bit less because I like the shadows. Or I'll do that depending on what kind of film it is. This is my preferred self-tape travel kit. When I do travel, I try to turn on every available light there is because the main key light that I will show a picture of here is great because it's diffused, it's not so harsh on you, and you could still see me, I think. Since I'm in my studio, I can't really replicate what a travel situation would be, is because normally I'm in a hotel room and I could turn a lamp on back there, or there's sunlight come in, which is all going to be helpful. Since I'm using the DSLR, I had to pump up the ISO, which I won't know how it looks until I look in the computer. For audio, I do something a little different. I have a lavalier microphone that Movo actually gave my friend Keller Jones. You know Keller?
Hi, I don't need the fancy clothes to tell me that I'm a man. That's why I use skin bracers, because it smells like a man already. Is this like an energy drink or something?
You can also keep this microphone on your camera plugged into that audio jack Speaking of, I didn't mention this in the home studio setup, but what you'll have to do is when you plug this in to the audio jack on your DSLR, you will need to work with the levels. You'll have to move that. You don't want auto on. You want to put on manual and drop it all the way down as low as you can go until the top level of your voice is kind of hitting that 12, negative 12. You don't want to go all the way to 0. And again, I am not an expert in the technical. This is just trial and error. There's more people that can tell you why not to do something or why to do something. You'll just have to go research those if that's what you want to do. This is the iPhone 16 Pro set up arm's length away. I had to zoom in 1.3 on the camera because it does get a very wide view, and you don't want all the other stuff in there. You want as blank a canvas as you can behind you so no one gets distracted. As you could probably tell, the color does look a little off. I don't look like a real human being, like the DSLR allows me to, which is why I recommend, if you can afford a DSLR, get one. Pay monthly on it, whatever. If you are looking to up your visual game, do that. It's easy. Get one with great autofocus so you don't have to worry about being out of focus. The iPhone does great too. However, I look like an Oompa Loompa, right? Color-wise, I'm on the coolest setting. What I'm going to try and do is drop the temperature down just a little bit in editing and see if it makes it any better. Is it? Do I look a little less Oompa Loompa-ish? Regardless, this is a great taping setup. Again, if you are anywhere else other than a studio, use available light as well as a key light. Again, no one's paying me to show this stuff off. I'm showing you what I use, and hopefully it's helpful. The iPhone is great for self-travel ease. You don't have to worry about anything. You tape your audition and send it in. I am only doing this to try and elevate the game. I want to look better to casting, to producers. I want to sound better to casting and producers. And I can't emphasize this enough. Your work matters more. My buddy Jim Clock and I did a movie where we had people send in tapes, and this guy sent in a tape vertical from his garage. Now, don't ever do that. However, his work was so good that we forgot that this guy was in a garage for a second. I mean, he was amazing. Now, first of all, if you're doing an audition, film it horizontally, and if you can help it, try and find a room where you're not getting so much echo like a garage. But again, proof. That guy's work was so good, did not care what it looked like. We saw him clearly, we could hear him clearly. That's what mattered. This whole thing, if you're able to elevate your visual game like this, then do it. If not, don't worry about it. The work is what matters. Get all the nonsense out of your head. Don't let anyone tell you that it has to look as good as a studio. You can go pay that. But for people that are auditioning 3, 4, 5 times a week, that's crazy expensive. Invest in a good setup. And if you need help and I have time, I'll help you out. 1 hen, 2 ducks, 3 squawking geese, 4 limerick oysters, 5 corpulent porpoises, 6 pair of Don Alvarzo's tweezers, 7,000 Macedonians in full battle array, 8 brass monkeys from the sea. 8 brass monkeys from the ancient sacred crypts of Egypt. 9 apathetic, sympathetic, diabetical men on roller skates with a marked propensity towards procrastination and sloth. 10 lyrical, spherical, diabolical denizens of the deep who all stall around the corner of the quo, of the quay, of the quivery all at the same time. 1 hen, 2 ducks, 3 squawking geese, 4 limerick oysters, 5 corpulent porpoises, 6 pair of Dan Alvarzo's tweezers, 7,000 Macedonians in full battle array, 8 brass monkeys from the ancient sacred crypts of Egypt, 9 apathetic, sympathetic, diabetical men on roller skates with a marked propensity towards procrastination and sloth, 10 lyrical, spherical, diabolical denizens of the deep who all stall around the corner of the quo, of the quay, of the quivery all at the same time. 1 hen, 2 ducks, 3 squawking geese, 4 limerick oysters, 5 corpulent porpoises, 6 pair of Don Alvarzo's tweezers, 7,000 Macedonians in full battle array, 8 brass monkeys from the ancient sacred crypts of Egypt, 9 apathetic, sympathetic, diabetical men on roller skates with a marked propensity towards procrastination and sloth, 10 lyrical, spherical, diabolical denizens of the deep who all stall around the corner of the quo, of the quay, of the quivery all at the same time. Yeah. 1 hen, 2 ducks, 3 squawking geese, 4 limerick oysters, 5 corpulent porpoises, 6 paradonal varsals, tweezers, 7,000 Macedonians in full battle array, 8 brass monkeys from the ancient sacred crypts of Egypt, 9 apathetic, sympathetic, diabetic old men on roller skates with a marked propensity towards procrastination and sloth, 10 lyrical, spherical, diabolical denizens of the deep who all stall around the corner of the quiver of the quay of the quivery all at the same time.